first, let's talk about subject pronouns. Subject pronouns in English work the same way as subject pronouns in Spanish. They are either singular or plural. On the left-hand side, we have singular subject pronouns. These we did in chapter 1 with the verb ser. We have yo to talk about yourself. Tú and usted are both to talk to someone. Tú is to talk to someone we're familiar with, someone we're on a first name basis with. Usted is also used to talk to someone, but it's a formal relationship, so someone we would address with a title. Él and ella are both used to talk about someone. And then we have plural subject pronouns. Nosotros, nosotras, we. Nosotros if it's masculine, all masculine, or if it's a mixed gender group. Nosotras we use if it's all feminine. For example, let's say we have David, Rebecca, and me. So David, Rebecca, and me, I'm included, so that makes we, but because David's in there, it automatically makes it nosotros. It doesn't matter that the majority it's feminine. In order for us to use nosotras, it can be Rebecca, Michelle, and myself. That's three of us. Rebecca, Michelle, and I are feminine. We're female, so we say nosotras. The only way you can use nosotras is that you have to be included. It has to say yo and I. We have ustedes, you all, which is talking to a group of people, and then ellos, ellas, they, talking about a group of people. Vosotros and vosotras have the strike through them because we will not use them in this class. It's not used actively in the textbook, but they do include it in verb conjugations. The reason why is because vosotros and vosotras are used primarily in Spain. Outside of Europe, like in Latin America and the Caribbean, ustedes is used instead. Vosotros and ustedes are both plural. Vosotros is the familiar form that's plural, y'all. Ustedes is the formal form that's plural, you all. Vosotros is the plural form of tú. Ustedes is the plural form of usted. Spanish, however, does not need a lot of subject pronouns. A lot of times you will see them omitted because they're only used for emphasis to clarify to whom the speaker is referring. The reason for this is because the verb ending tells you the subject. Let's look at AR verbs that are in the chapter. Beside each of these verbs, we see what they mean. We have bailar, buscar, cantar, comprar, desear, enseñar, escuchar, estudiar, hablar, mandar, mandar un mensaje, necesitar, pagar, practicar, regresar, tocar, tomar, trabajar. Mandar means to send. So if we want to say to send a text, we need the whole phrase. Mandar un mensaje. Tocar means to play, but only in to play a musical instrument, not like to play a game. When we talk about the verbs buscar, pagar, escuchar, the for and the to, they're already included. For example, buscar means to look for. You don't have to add for. Pagar is to pay for. Escuchar is to listen to. So you don't have to add the for, the to after the verb. One thing we want to keep in mind before we look at how we conjugate a verb is some grammar points. When we have two verbs that are used back to back and the subject hasn't changed, we keep the second verb in the infinitive form, usually. meaning this. Let's say we take the sentence, necesito mandar un mensaje. I need to send a text or a text message. I'm the same subject. I need to send this. So because the subject hasn't changed, we only conjugate the first verb, necesito. The second verb, the one immediately after it, we do not conjugate it. So keep it with that AR ending. Me gusta bailar. Gusta, gustar, we talked about in the first chapter. It's a conjugated verb. You can't conjugate two verbs back to back with the same subject. So we keep bailar in the infinitive. An infinitive verb doesn't have a subject. One thing we also want to talk about is what's in part 6, the time of a verb, the tense of it. What we're doing right now is the present tense of AR verbs in Spanish. The present tense just isn't limited to how maybe it is in English. It can include more than one word when we want to translate it over. For example, hablo. Hablar is this verb that it's coming from. Hablar. Hablo means I speak, I am speaking, I will speak. So from that one word hablo, we can have these 3 different meanings. Okay, so let's talk more about the verb hablar. To speak, to talk is what it means. When we conjugate a verb, we look at what type of verb is it. There are 3 types of verbs in Spanish. Verbs that end in AR, ER, and IR. In this chapter, we focus on AR verbs. All those verbs in that section are AR verbs. They're the only AR verbs that we'll use in this chapter. Verbs have verb endings. This is how we know the subject, which is why we don't want to use or overuse the subject pronoun. Yo ends in O. Tú, ellas, él, ella, usted. A. Nosotros and nosotras. Amos, AMOS. Ellos, ellas, ustedes, an, AN. Remember that ustedes is you all, usted is you. Ustedes is the plural form.